Well, we are one day away before the remote raid changes take effect, and we are a day after Heroes Niantic Part 2 went out. So, as I promised last week when I broke this news about the change happening this Thursday, I'm doing another video, give you guys my take on this entire situation. So with all that said, let's get into it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. It's your boy Troy Fun, and today's day is now Wednesday, April the 5th. So let's get on with this. Before we get on to this, let me give you guys a few disclaimers. So the first one is this. You could agree with the change, you could disagree with the change. You know, whatever your stance is with the change, you have to be aware of the following. Threatening people is never the answer. So, you know, I just witnessed somebody, a community leader who I recently met back in Vegas, and had a good conversation with, and he's a cool dude. He was threatened online. I don't know who it was, I don't know what was said, but they did receive a threatening message, and that is not tolerated anywhere. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a joke. Like, you don't joke around like that, and this really makes you look like a coward, because let's be honest, the same person who threatening the community manager will not come to Detroit or Memphis or Compton or Brooklyn or the Bronx or Chicago or anything like that and go to the hood and threaten people there because they're cowards. Y'all not gonna do that. So don't be a coward. Don't be fake online. Be real. Like, as you are in person, that's how you should be online as well. So yeah, don't be a coward and be threatening people online. I don't care if you're joking or not. That is not tolerated at all. Not at all. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this. I've seen about like 1 or 2 people having a problem with the hashtag Heroes Niantic fiasco. If you're complaining about it and basically saying, oh, people should be like me, man, and just go with the flow, blah, 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 then you're just selfish. You're straight up selfish, and you're trying to be a dictator, because you're basically saying the world should act like you. And it's like, bruh, you need a reality check. The world don't revolve around you, so how dare you tell the world to act like you? Now, I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but if there are some people who have issues with Heroes Niantic, then you're just selfish, and you basically need to do this. That's it. You need to do that. Now, the last disclaimer I have for you guys is my stance on this. Now, I did, you know, tweet the whole Heroes Niantic post. So yeah, that is on my Twitter as well. So yes, I obviously stand with Heroes Niantic on this matter at all. So with that said, what is this video about? So we're gonna look at everything. We're gonna look at, you know, why is this happening? Who does this not affect? Who does it affect? You know, I'm gonna bring up counters and counters, you know, and things of that nature. You know, like, what does this change? What will not change? What should have happened and what could happen, or what I think needs to happen in order for this to be, you know, to make sure that everybody is happy. What I mean by everybody, I mean the people who play the game, the majority, those who represent the majority of players, those who represent the minority of players, Niantic, whether it's the community leaders, the developers, the higher ups, to make everybody happy. So hopefully, I hope y'all watch this video from start to finish, because this is very, very important. So let's recap over everything that's going to happen. So obviously, they dropped the news last week Thursday, I believe. Yes, last week Thursday, that tomorrow, the day after we record this video, basically the remote raid pass, the singles would go from 100 to 195 Pokecoins. The triple pack would go from 300 to 525 Pokecoins. And the regular passes will now have a triple pack that will cost 250 Pokecoins, whereas the single pass, or single regular raid pass, will still cost 100. So yeah, that's like a 50 Pokecoin deal right there to get the triple pack. So yeah, you should do that if you are planning on going out and doing in-person raids, that is. Also, there's going to be a limit where you can only do 5 remote raids per day. And while they're going to add a remote raid pass into the Reset Bracelet box, where you could, it's not definite, but you could get a chance of getting 1 remote raid pass in the Reset Bracelet box. But if you have 3 or more in your collection and you claim your Reset Bracelet box, then that 1 remote raid pass will be downgraded, because let's be honest, that's what it is, downgraded to a regular raid pass, what they call it, a premium battle pass, which is the same thing as a regular raid pass. And then they also said that in-person raids will give you more Candy XL. Now, I have received news regarding that. We're going to get into that later. Now, with that said, let's talk about why is this change happening. So, based on what I can gather, there's three reasons why this is happening. Now, if somebody representing Niantic is watching this and they say, oh, you missed something or that's not exactly accurate, I would like, well, they know where to reach me. I'll say that. So let's talk about the first reason that I can think of. One, remote raiding is too OP, and Niantic never intended for remote raids to be like this, which is true. They literally said this themselves. They literally did say this themselves. And to be honest, remote raiding is OP. It really is OP. We're like, because, you know, obviously we became way too complacent. I'm very guilty of this, and I would rather do remote raids than to go out and do more raids and things of that nature. So yeah, it's really OP. It does limit the amount of people going out and interacting with each other and things of that nature. So I completely understand that. Okay, fine, so be it. This is also, which brings me to the next point. To bring in-person communities together. Again, I said this in my last video, but I do miss the days where we will do raid parties, me and like members of the Dearborn community, or me and members of the inner circle. We'll carpool and we'll just drive around and doing raids together. Like, those days was fun, and this is really how I discovered a lot of the communities that I engage with involving Pokemon Go, because of in-person raiding. I said that before, and yeah, I stand by that as well. And then they want to collect location data, so we will get more on that later as well. So what do I mean by collection data? It's not exactly like where you are right now in terms of where you are at home, but in terms of where you go. Like, you go to this city, you go to this area, you go to this county, wherever the place may be. That is more valuable to them than you spending money on remote raid passes. Let me repeat that again. Niantic collecting your location data, knowing where you go from, you know, raid to raid, the gym, the Pokestop to Pokestop, whatever the case may be, that is more important to them than it is for you to buy remote raid passes, or frankly buy anything in Pokemon Go. So those are the three reasons why this is happening. If there are more reasons that you, the person watching this video, can think of, let me know in the comment section below. And again, if anybody representing Niantic watching this and there's like more to that, or you think I messed up somewhere, again, you know where to reach me. Now, who does this change will not affect? And I'll be honest, even I do support hashtag Here's Niantic. Again, I did the post, and you know, I talked about the last video, right? This was a bad idea all of that. This does not affect me. I'm dead serious. Why does this not affect me? Because I'm the type of guy who does not do raids all the time. Like, I rarely done any Lugia raids. Why? Because I got the shinies. I got one that have good IVs. And Lugia as a whole is borderline decent. Borderline decent for PvP and barely borderline decent for raiding. So this ain't a desirable Pokemon for me to do a crap ton of raids for. It's just not. And I won't get that until Tapu Bulu, I gotta say it right, comes out. Once that comes out, then yeah, I will be out trying to get the shiny. And then once I get like a few shinies, I'm done. It's a wrap. I don't care about getting the Shundo, because again, more than likely, Tapu Bulu won't have that much use in the game. So people like me, it won't really affect me as much. Now, I'm not saying it won't totally affect me at all, because there is this one part that will affect me, but outside of that, majority, it won't affect me. Now, who will this not affect? Casual players. So what I mean by casual players, I'm talking about people who don't really play the game like that. They're not hardcore players, and they're not really a part of any online communities. Like, they're not on Twitter like that. They're not in live streams. They don't watch YouTube videos. So basically, I'm talking about the online community. So it's going to be interesting to hear from them. And at some point, I do want to get out and talk to them about this change to see how they feel about it, whether it will affect them or not. But based on what I could guess, this is me guessing, I do not believe that it will affect them. Offline communities, rather. And those are a part of the majority. We're gonna talk about that in a second as well. So there you go with that. And then who will this not affect? Future players. Trainer Tips said it himself. You know, if people want to stop playing the game because of it, I have seen some people say they're gonna stop playing the game, then okay. You know, it sucks, but it is what it is. That's your decision. But guess what? 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, more players are going to show up and play Pokemon Go, and they will not experience what it was like when remote raiding was OP. So they're going to accept how the game is 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, and they're going to be like, okay, we have to go out and do raids. Let's get a raid party going, blah, 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 stuff like that. So that's, you know, that's what Niantic is hoping for. And yeah, it's going to happen. Let's be honest. It's going to be happening. You know, whoever dips and stop playing Pokemon Go, new people are going to come in and basically take their spot. And they're going to adapt and get used to how the game will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, where remote raiding is like pretty much irrelevant, assuming that nothing changed here. So yeah, those are the 3 parties that this change will not affect. Now, who will this change affect mostly? Well, this is where the whole hashtag Niantic comes to play, or hashtag here's Niantic come to play. So I'm about to read this real quick if you haven't seen this for some odd reason. Dear Niantic, we are writing to you on behalf of your customers, the Pokemon Go community. We want to start out by letting you know that we love Pokemon Go. Not just Go, but the Pokemon franchise in general. We are and always will be passionate, loyal, and vocal about our thoughts and concerns. We want Pokemon Go to succeed, and we want to be able to play this game, the game we love, for years to come. Unfortunately, we as a whole, especially me, that's not in the thing, but this is me. This is how I truly felt, and I'll explain why in a second. Felt unheard. Time and time again, our questions go unanswered. Our concerns are not addressed, and most importantly, our needs are not taken into proper consideration. As of now, we are specifically referring to the April 6th Remote Raid Pass update. We do not agree with your decision, and the majority of us want you to know that, quote, limiting remote raids to 5 passes per day, end quote, will harm the following. Rural trainers who lack adequate local community support. Trainers with disabilities who physically cannot get outside to play. Trainers who have severe social anxiety, who struggle mentally to get outside to participate in in-person raids. Trainers who work night shifts and cannot participate during the day, because remember, raids normally ends around 9 p.m. Single parent trainers who are managing children, a household, and a career with minimal time to spare. And most importantly of all, the remote raid changes will limit our global interaction with our trainers who we have developed tight bonds with over the last 3 years. Every former trainer has equal and every rights to play and enjoy Pokemon Go. At the end of the day, the world has evolved since the pandemic. The landscape of working, playing, and interacting has evolved and changed. Trainers now work at home through the new work/life dynamic, which remote communities were built. These communities are just as viable and strong as in-person communities. These communities are unique, special, and one of a kind, and we know from the bottom of our hearts that there is equal room to have both types of communities flourish simultaneously. If Niantic's goal is to get trainers outside, reward players significantly from doing in-person raids. Rewards, guarantee XL candies, we'll get more on that in a second. Increase Lucky Friends odds during the first time in-person raids interaction. Offer premium items such as incubators, star pieces, etc. from in-person raids. Incentivize the in-person raids, but do not take away and surrender what we have built globally over the last 3+ years. Without remote raids, the opportunity to attend live events to meet with our global Pokemon Go friends will not be as enticing, exciting, or robust. We, as a global community, did not want the remote raid issue to come to this point, but as already mentioned, we are not heard. Again, I'll get more on that in a second. We are sad, distraught, and discouraged because our interactions with our global friends will no longer be free to accommodate for every type of global Pokemon Go trainer. Please, for the second time, hashtag here's Niantic. Talk to your community, talk to us, let's have a discussion. This is beyond creating scarce limitations for remote raids, but create a rich, incentivized environment to encourage local community congregation. Sincerely, the Pokemon Go community. So I want to talk about, the fact that our voices were not heard, excuse me. So I said this in my last video. Let me be more direct. Because there's some people who are saying, oh, they saying here's Niantic, but how many of them getting paid by Niantic and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And they have no idea. And you know who you are. You guys have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. Obviously because we can't say, but don't just be talking if you don't have all the facts. Because y'all don't. Talk about something, oh, they're only saying here's Niantic, but I bet you they won't stand by it because they like are sponsored by Niantic or whatever. Like, no, you're just talking basically out of your carcasses and y'all don't have your facts. And y'all not gonna get the facts. So, and here's the thing again. There has been countless suggestions, countless feedback from those who are content creators, some that are small, some that are popular, and even some that are sponsored, that said, yo, this ain't a good idea. What about this? What about that? Here's what you should do instead, blah, blah, blah. Every single thing, including everything that was mentioned in the Here's Niantic post, has been said, and it was like, okay, obviously I'm not going to blame this on the community leaders, so this is going directly to the higher ups. So like we said all this to the community leaders, I'm assuming said this to the higher ups, and the higher ups took our suggestions, our feedback in our hands, and literally did this. That's how it felt to me. Like, I will admit, when I first heard this, I was upset. I will be honest. I was genuinely upset. Because, again, I mentioned that's my main issue. The global community. Like, there are offline communities where, you know, you got communities in Dearborn, communities in downtown Chicago, whatever the case may be. But you still got those online communities. And I'm not just talking about those that were made from Twitch streams. You know, like you got Lando Alpha's communities, and you got Jesse and Rachel's community, you got Squid the Beast communities and stuff like that. I'm talking about global communities. These are friendships and interactions that were made throughout the entire world. Like, I have friends in Japan, I have friends in Australia, and it's kind of hard to do an in-person raid with them. Like, it's impossible. You can't do it. Not on a regular basis or a weekly basis or even a month, even a yearly basis. Like, you can't do it. You can't do it. So that's the thing that got to me the most, and that's the thing that I brought to them. I'm like, yo, there are people who live stream this game and bringing this game to a global audience on Twitch, on YouTube, and then there's the global community. So I brought that up to them, and again, the higher ups or whoever tossed that in the trash. And again, that's how it felt to me. So yeah, that is a major issue that I have. So. And also, I mentioned like who will this change affect, and I mentioned, you know, the stuff that was in the Here's Niantic post, but I'm gonna add some more to it. Hardcore players, you know, the people that actually grind the game, they spend a lot of money on remote raids just to do these raids like crazy. People who live in dangerous cities. So again, I talked about this with the whole Pokestop scenario. You know, not every city is like St. Louis, where it's, oh, not St. Louis, but not St. Louis, but San Francisco, where it's flowers and sunshine and sunny days. No. Again, you're talking to a guy who lives in the most dangerous city in America. Memphis is in close second. You got Chicago, where they like to steal vehicles. You got Harlem, you got Brooklyn, you got the Bronx, you got Queens, you got Compton. You got all of these cities in the United States and possibly all around the world that are not exactly safe to walk around in, you know. So to ask people to, because you don't want people to drive and play, but to ask people to walk around, to go from location to do these raids, and there could be a drug dealer across the street or a game banger right around the corner. Like, what do you expect them to do? And then of course you got the Reddit issue. Like, I was just reading an article about ironically enough, an earthquake that hit San Francisco. I was at regionals for Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I was seeing, first of all, there was high winds like crazy. That because there was a tornado situation going on down in Arkansas, and that kind of made its way, the aftermath of that made its way up to Indiana, wherever the case may be, because of the whole high winds and the fact that it was raining like crazy and stuff like that. So weather is a factor as well. Now, let's be honest here though. I named all these individuals that will be affected by this change. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. All of those individuals that will be affected by this change, so you know, trainers with disabilities, trainers with severe social anxiety issues, trainers who work night shifts, all of them. They all represent the minority. And if there's anybody who knows what it's like to be a minority, do I need to say any further? They all represent the minority. So this change will not affect the majority, which is again, casual players and future players and people who don't raid as much unless they have to. That would be me. But at the same time, here's a counter to that counter, and that is this. And this was said in the post. Every form of trainer has equal and every right to play and enjoy Pokemon Go. And I got to clap to make this stand out. So keep that in mind as well. So let's talk about this real quick. Why this change will not force people to do more in-person raids? So obviously the objective is they want people to go out and do more raids. But by basically getting rid of remote raiding, that's pretty much what this is, it won't accomplish that. Now you're probably wondering, why is that? Well, it was said in that post. The world is different from what it was before COVID. If they trying to do this with the mindset of, yo, let's get it back to how it was before COVID, this entire world will never be what it once was before COVID. And that goes for Pokemon Go. Again, I said this earlier in this video, I'm gonna say it again. People is complacent. And again, I'm guilty of this. I prefer, but nowadays, depending on my mood, I prefer to just stay at home and do remote raids. Because like I don't have to get dressed or do anything. I can just raid and rock my PJs or nothing at all if I want. But whatever, you get the point. People just gotten way too complacent and prefer to just do raids from home. And that might even be the case for casual players and the offline communities as well. Again, I want to talk to offline communities and ask how they feel about it. And if they say they feel complacent and they prefer to do it from home, then there you go. Now, speaking of which, another thing that won't force people to go out and do raids is that they're working from home now. I'm a living proof of that. My workstation is right here, Monday through Friday. I'm here. And we have, at my job, we have entire corporate meetings every month, and the head of the company literally says this every meeting. Our incentive to bring our employers or our employees back to the office is not a priority. Meaning, he had no intention of forcing us to go back to the office. That is not happening anytime soon. So we are working from home now. Not everybody, but there's a good number of people that are working from home now. And again, another thing that won't change is this. More global friendships, interactions were established involving Pogo. So yeah, this will not, like, those global friendships, you can't expect it to say, well, that's going in the trash, let me go outside. No, that's not going to work. And to say, well, y'all can just send gifts to each other or do PvP, I talked about this in my last video. That's not going to cut it. There's no fun. Bro, yeah, it's cool to receive a gift from somebody who's been to the Great Wall of China or to, some type of cool monument or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that's cool, but that's like a temporary excitement, a small, short time level of excitement. That's not everlasting. And PvP is not allowed because the casual player does not do PvP. They don't. So we need something that we can do with people around the world that is considered fun, and that's where remote raiding comes to play. Also, there's not enough incentive to go out and do in-person raids, which brings me to the Candy XL news. So, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. So this is like a little inside thing that I received regarding the XL Candy changes. So they understand that Master League is a thing, and they want people to have level 50 Pokemon. So, even though there's still no exact number of XL candies that we'll get for doing in-person raids, it sounds like it's going to be high. Because the idea is for you guys to get enough Candy XLs to power up that Pokemon as soon as possible. Again, there's no exact number, but it sounds like we're going to get a pretty large number of Candy XL. I think last video I said, like, if it's less than 5 or 5 or less, then that's a problem. It sounds like it's going to be more than that. It sounds like it's going to be way more than just 5. Again, I have no clue how much, because remember, it takes about like 200 to 300, like 250 to 300 XL candies to power up one Pokemon. to level 50. So again, I don't know how many we're gonna get. It could be 20, it could be 30, 40, 50, I don't know. If it's 50, that would be cool. I ain't gonna lie, if it's 50, it's gonna be cool. But that is a thing. That is a thing. And while we at this section, I also got my notes here, but I also want to get this out the way as well, and that is this. There's other news. When I mentioned the whole, they want your location data, whatever the case may be, blah, blah, blah. They do not want to sell your user data. Like, they have not done that, nor do they want to do that. So that's little inside info that was given to me, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Now, let's move on to why this change will not force people to do more in-person raids. The gym system is trash. Like, in terms of there's not enough incentive, the gym system is trash. I talked about this time and time again, and I'm really annoyed with this gym system. This seriously needs to change. Again, for those who don't know how the gym system works, because you probably haven't messed with it so long, let me remind you. Again, you battle the Pokemon to knock them out of the gym, and then you put your Pokemon in there representing your squad, whether it's Valor, Mystic, or Instinct. Your Pokemon had to be in that gym, I think, if memory serves correctly, they had to be in that gym for 8 hours in order for you to get 50 coins. Now, in order for you to get the 50 coins, you would need somebody from an opposing team. So, for example, Valor, I got a Blissey in the gym. I would have to hit up Trainer Tips, who is Instinct, and say, yo, Trainer Tips, can you knock my Pokemon out the gym so I can get these 50 coins? I have to rely on the competition to knock my Pokemon out of the gym so I can get my 50 coins? That is trash. That is trash. So, and sometimes you won't get that 50 coins a day because, again, you need somebody to kick your Pokemon out of the gym. And it can't be your own teammate. That is trash. That is straight up trash. It needs to be changed. There needs to be more of a competitive nature in Barbie gyms. Now, granted, I understand there has been stories back in the day where people would literally fight each other for gyms, like fisticuffs. But again, that's the minority. That's not the majority, which is ironic. But there needs to be more of a competitive nature for these gyms. And the gym system is trash. It needs to be done. It needs to be seriously changed. That it just needs to happen. Now, next thing is this. This was poorly planned. Like, this whole remote raid change was poorly planned. Why was it poorly planned? There's two reasons why. Campfire ain't even ready yet. Like Mystic 7 said that in his video. Like, Campfire is not available worldwide yet. I got Campfire. He have Campfire. There's other people that I know that have Campfire. But this thing is not available worldwide yet. And matter of fact, back at GoFest Seattle, remember that there was a Campfire video that I did and released? That video from Niantic, or whoever is in charge of Campfire, I have not seen that video. That video is not out yet. So, like, if that video is not out yet, and Campfire is not out yet, with the whole purpose of Campfire is to get people together so they can look for Pokemon and do raids together, how you gonna force people to do in-person raids where your own version of Discord ain't even ready yet? Now, granted, yes, we got Discord, so all you gotta do is find, like, you gotta find a server that is in your local area. Like, no, Campfire is more convenient. It really is. Like, it really is. Like, in terms of finding people within your area, Campfire more convenient than Discord. But it's not ready. It's not available worldwide. And that's a problem. That's an example of why this change was poorly planned. Because a device that can help us do in-person raids isn't ready yet. And yet you want us to do more in-person raids. You see the issue with that? That's an issue. And another thing that was not poorly planned was like the incentive. Obviously, again, you get more Candy XLs, but again, we don't know the exact number. And now they look like we're gonna get more, but again, there needs to be more than that. And again, I had to refer to the Heroes Niantic post. They talked about more premium items should be given out. There are more chances to get lucky friends with people who you are best friends with that are doing the in-person raid with you. There just needs to be more of an incentive to get people to go out and do these in-person raids. Like, it must be a thing. It must be a thing. So now let's talk about what Niantic should have done going into today. So one of the things that they should have done was they should have sent out multiple notices that remote raids were going to be changing and list the reason why. So I understand that when they first dropped the news that remote raids were coming to the game, I understand that they did not speculate that it was going to get this OP, and it is OP. So let's be honest, it is OP. But let's say sometime last year, they could have released a post on Pokemon Go Live saying, hey, in the future, remote raids will be undergoing a change where, you know, we want to focus more on you guys doing in-person raids, and then list the reason why, and send out multiple notices like that on PokemonGoLive.com. So it don't even have to be every month. It could be every 2 months, every 3 months, whatever the case may be. So now, by us reading this, we are now being prepped and being groomed to know what is coming. So when it does happen, we're not surprised. We're not surprised. So that should have happened. That should have happened. Another thing that should have happened is Campfire should have been released first. Like, Campfire should have been released worldwide. Because I said this not that long ago in this video, but because basically here's what you're doing. You basically saying, yo, we want you to do more in-person raids. Now, in terms of how you do that, you're on your own. And I'm like, y'all got Campfire, but it's not available yet. How about saying, well, we want y'all to do in-person raids, and we giving you Campfire so you can find local communities, so you can do in-person raids easier, so we can help you out with that, as opposed to saying you're on your own. So Campfire should have been released to the entire world first. And then the third thing is they should have done sponsored in-person raid events. So last year, and I think the year before that as well, they were doing sponsored community day events. So remember last year, I went to one in downtown Indianapolis. That's where I had my meetup. I think it was like a Lone and Geodude community day, whatever the case may be. And they could have done the same with sponsored in-person raid events, where everybody would have met up at, you know, at certain cities that have a lot of Poke Gyms, and we just walk around and do these raids. And they could have been recording this. Whoever they got at these locations, they could have been recording this and saying, and then, you know, presenting to people, say like, yo, look how great it is to do in-person raids. So when the change happened and they still showing these videos, people would be like, yo, you know what, that don't look bad, I want to do that. So those three things should have happened. Not one of the three. All three of those things should have happened going into where we are right now. Now, obviously, that's what should have been done, but it's too late to do that now. But there are changes that Niantic can do to make this better, to the point where everybody wins. So the first thing they should do is this. They need to remove the remote raid limit for raid hour and raid day events. So here's the deal. Raid hour, a lot of people like to do multiple raids. Like, and again, I said this in my last video. The likes of New Zealand and Australia, they're gonna get their raid hours first. And our mindset is like, yo, we wanna do raids with them, because we wanna get that Pokemon as soon as possible, or do a bunch of raids throughout the entire day, whether it's in person or globally. So the limit should be removed for raid hour. And if there's a raid day, it should be removed there as well. Now, if you want to keep it for like elite raids, okay, that's fine. Whatever, so be it. But I'm talking about like if there's like a Lapras raid day or a Groudon raid day, whatever the case may be, you know, that limit should be removed just for those types of events. And it should, and maybe other events as well, like a Go Fest or a Go Tour, whatever the case may be. And it should be removed every Wednesday for raid hour. Every Wednesday for raid hour. That way, you're still going to support the minority. And it's a minority day per week. So you still support the minority. Those who are in rural areas that are having a hard time finding their local community. Those with disabilities. Those with social anxiety. Those who work night shift. You get the point. You know, those who want to take part in global interactions. And that they might live in a dangerous city, or they may have to deal with bad weather, so they can't go out and do raid hours. You know, by removing the limit, there's no issues. And if they want to still go out and do in-person raids, they can do that outside of Wednesday and outside of raid day events. You know, because you know the hardcore players will do that. And not everybody needs to go out every day to do raids anyway, because it could be impossible. So at least give them the option to do remote raids without a limit. So that's the first thing that should change. The second thing that should change is one of the following. They should reduce the price of remote raid passes. So the single should be reduced from $195 to $150. The triple pack should be reduced from $525 to $450, maybe $475. So either that needs to be done, the price needs to drop from where they want it to be, or one or two things need to be done to the gyms. Change the amount of Poké coins you get earned from the gyms from 50 to 100. And then that would be cool. Or, if they don't want to do that, then they need to change how we get the coins. Because again, by relying on the competition to kick us out of the gym to get 50 coins is blasphemous. It's straight up blasphemous. So one of those things needs to be changed. If you don't want to lower the price for the remote raid passes, the single and the triple pack, then you need to change something with the gym. Either raise the amount of coins you can get from 50 to 100, or let us earn 50 coins every day without relying on the competition to kick us out of gyms. Otherwise, what's the point of having Valor, Instinct, and Mystic? Like, get rid of them. If we have to, like, just get rid of them. Like, it make no sense. It make no sense to me. So, if those two changes are made, I think everybody would be happy, you know, because again, the minority can still do raids, the majority will still go out and do raids, which is what Niantic wants, and everybody's happy. So that's what I think needs to be done in order for this to be fixed and for everybody to be happy. So if you reached this point in the video, first of all, thank you, because this is like a 30-something long video. And if you reached the point in the video, leave in the comment section change in all caps, the word change in all caps. And at the end of my video, there are going to be two videos for you to watch. One of them will be the video that I uploaded last, which was my coverage at Fort Range for regionals. And the other one will be a video that YouTube will recommend for you. So I'm going to call it a wrap because I'm losing my voice. So with all that said, y'all know this is brand new Jake Ass Beat, aka New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Subscribe. Thanks, man. Do it. After you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the bell icon so you never miss a new video or a live stream ever again. Thanks, guys.
Lewis the trainer, articulating paint. With my tongue, I done things that people said I can't. Now they rank 'em with the elite, but it's for the people, and victory is part of defeat. Cause when you get back on your feet, then you try again. Learn from mistakes, show 'em that I got what it takes, and I'm dying to win. I'ma hit and move away.